Hello, everybody. Welcome into today's live broadcast. It's Friday. It's the 5th of September, 2024. My name is CareyHolzman. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today as we're going to review a gaming mini PC. Now, the gaming PCs are becoming more and more niche. The demand for those, the audience size, they're dedicated, they're passionate, but they're a shrinking audience. But nonetheless, gaming PCs can be a very expensive luxury. So what we're going to review today is a mini PC that's capable of gaming, but of course, a desktop with a discrete graphics card is always going to cost a lot more and be a lot more capable. So depending on what your demands are for gaming, this might just be an ideal solution for you, along with a portable gaming 144 hertz monitor, which we're going to look at in detail. Everything is still shrink wrapped. I haven't opened a thing. We're going to explore it together, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about why these particular models today and not something else. A shout out and a thank you to our friends Paul Gray out there in Australia, Buster out there in Scotland, our friend Oystein in Norway, and Frankie B in New York for being such generous supporters. Thanks to all of our members and to each and every one of you whose names I am not omitting on purpose. I just don't have them on the top. I always feel bad about that too. We appreciate each and every one of you. And for the viewers, we do hope you'll consider becoming a member here and seeing our video archive and our members only videos, which we hope add value to the channel so we don't have to become a corporate spokes puppet being told what to say, how to say, when to say. I much prefer my independence and being able to speak freely. For better or for worse, it's who I am and it's how I run my business. And my YouTube channel has always been an extension of that. I will not recommend anything to you guys that I wouldn't support myself. And anything I introduce to you, we determine throughout the introduction. Well, ultimately, you have to determine if it's right for you or not. That's my goal. I don't know what's right for you, but I can tell you if you're in the market for a mini PC for gaming and you want to get the best bang for the buck, that's what we're looking for. And how we determine that is individual, subjective information. But I want to make sure you understand what to expect before you make or decide on making that purchase. It's not for me to tell you whether or not you should purchase it, but I can say right now, Minisforum is a very reputable mini PC manufacturer. And while they may not be a household name, when it comes to mini PC manufacturing, they are a name brand. So with that, hello, everybody joining us. Looking over here in our chat room. We're here in Studio C. As you can tell, we haven't quite got everything set up yet. In fact, not much has changed this week. It's been hot and miserable. We've had a record heat this week. Yesterday, I think 114, 116 degrees in September. So I tried not to go outside yesterday at all. It's one thing to have that in June or July, but to have it in September is brutal. So I'm standing here doing this video with the AC on, the fans are on, and if you look, I am covered. But that's okay, the show must go on. And for those of you living in cooler climates, I wish I was there. Come on, fall, get here quick. We have here in Phoenix probably another week, it'll drop to 106. So it doesn't get cool until mid-October. Just got to tough it through, right? But I will say when it's really, really hot like this, the last thing I want to do is move equipment around. So I'm just trying to stay still, be completely lazy, and try to find more administrative work that needs to be done in that time. The studio will come along, I assure you. I've got a good friend of mine going to stop by, and he's a nerd like me. And he's going to help me go through some of this stuff and get it organized. So I appreciate having the extra hand. That just means it'll get done that much sooner. And you'll know when it's done. You'll start seeing the changes behind me and around. Also, we don't have any other cameras. We don't have the close-up camera set up. We don't have anything but an HDMI input that we can come out of here and our main camera. We don't even have our secondary audio hooked up because that was put over here for a temporary setup that we ended up not requiring. So that all has to be dismantled and put away. Just add it to the list of things to do. But we're good enough to broadcast, and we have a great solid internet connection. Nobody should have any more buffering. And then once we get that set up, we'll probably play around with 4K and see if we can improve the quality of the video by broadcasting in 4K. It does require some configuration, but we already have all the equipment. We just never had the bandwidth at Studio B. So that's all coming between now and, say, the end of October. It's going to take a while. Little by little, we're going to chip away at it. In the meantime, broadcast schedule should be back on. Regular Mondays, members-only Monday videos are back on schedule. Regular Friday shows, as you see, we're back on schedule every single Friday at 1 o'clock. We are live. Even if it's a bare studio, we are live. And we'll get into more detailed things that require close-ups and such. We're putting that off until we have some solution for a close-up camera, which I don't know the solution yet. We'll get there. We just won't do those kind of videos until we have that set up. But we have equipment. We just haven't quite figured out how we're going to arrange it. I'd like to have a better setup and improve what we had on Studio B. And I'd like to do it right the first time rather than slap something together and say good enough. That's how we got to Studio B. This time I want to think about it and really put it together in a more permanent way that will result in a more consistent quality and less surprises for me when batteries run out or focus doesn't, doesn't work correctly. We're going to get all that solved before we even start using it. Takes time. So we appreciate your patience as we go through this transition. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it because when we're done, we're going to have a great studio here and everything should be consistent. That's what I'm looking for. Now, a shout out to our friend here, Planet Cryos, with a $5 super chat that says hello. And our friend Paul Gray in Australia with a $50 Australian super chat, as well as an earlier Amazon gift card. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Ron Barnish saying hello there in the chat. Of course, Mara's hanging out, and Mara's the one that handles.
Always hanging out.
She handles all of the background administrative work. If this is a 2-hour video, there's probably 4 to 6 hours in administrative work that goes into preparing the video, from the thumbnail to the video description, to talking and arranging with the vendors, as well as handling the chat room and then the follow-up questions that come in and any additions and notes that have to be changed as I mention things like links. And I say, hey, Mara, could you throw that link? And then, it's not like she just has the link. She has to go find it. Anyway, she's doing a lot of work and we really appreciate that. That's making things a lot easier on me so I can focus on this. She can focus on that. And when you guys send an email to the channel, you'll get a response, right? Sometimes I just don't have time. Or I mean to get back to it and I forget. That doesn't happen anymore. It's all in her capable hands. So if you've had an experience in the past where you've emailed and not gotten a reply, that's because it's just too much for me to handle. That's now solved, just so you know. We certainly love to hear from you. Now, hello to our friend Luke Greenia and Dwayne Blackwelder joining us. There's Mark Gaines in Northern Ireland. Shamim Kajviras says hello. And I also see Richard Palmentier in the chat. Captain Blinsky joins us. Thomas MacT. Bajan Guy. Speaking of, I don't know this gentleman's handle in the chat room, but he emailed the channel and he said, I want you to know I sent you something to Studio A, and I know you're not at Studio A very often, but it's a small package. I was thinking of you, and I understand if you won't get it for a while, even after it arrives, because you don't go to Studio A very often. So I was at Studio A the other day, and I had this package waiting for me, and that's all I was told. But when I open it up, I have a letter, which I'm going to read to you. I have an Intel 11600K CPU. And this was a contribution in cash to the channel. Very generous. And this gentleman's name is Thomas Kukela. I don't know what his name is. And if you're in the chat, Thomas, please let me know. We have a lot of Thomases, so I'm not sure which Thomas he is. But Thomas has sent me snail mail before. Thomas is in Southern California. And I'm going to read this. This is dated August 27th. He says, on August 23rd, I found a trash bag located outside our facility, sitting against but not in the dumpster. It was square shaped, and when I opened it up, I noticed it was a desktop tower unit in several pieces. The front bezel was removed, as well as the glass panel and plastic side frame, and 4 disconnected case fans. The case, which was black, was from Be Quiet, as well as the 4 fans, and there was a Seagate Focus 550. Seagate? Seasonic, maybe? It must be Seasonic. 550 watt power supply, 2 sticks of 8 gig rip jaw, it says rip jaw RAM, and ASUS AS590P, I don't know what that is, motherboard, and a small liquid cooler with short pipes connected to a rear case fan. Oh, a little 140 millimeter, 120. I didn't see a name on the liquid cooler unit, but I did see a Gigabyte label on one of the power connector wires. The motherboard was an ATX size board, LGA 1200, and I was curious about the type of processor that was being used. So I wiped off the thermal paste. I saw that it is an Intel i5 11600K. That really surprised me. I thought I could really build something nice with that, but then I realized I'd be making a mountain out of a molehill if I followed that line of thought. It gets expensive. You start with a free chip, and then you have to invest $600 in motherboard, RAM, storage, case, power supply. All right. I thought I would be making a mountain. Okay, I thought I could send it to you and you might get better mileage out of it than me. First of all, you're a professional. Well, that's the rumor. Secondly, you have the facilities and the customer base to get better use of this. Lastly, if you have no need for it, it's not very big, you could just recycle it. We're assuming this works, right? I've been meaning to send you a contribution for a while. I've not done so, and this would be a good time to send it. You're migrating from Studio B to C, and I'm kind of excited to see that. Right on, thank you. I've recently accepted the fact that Windows 11 will soon be the new normal. I don't know if 13 months is soon. Okay, to each their own. It's a year away. It's a long time. But regardless, I will soon... Let me start over. I've recently accepted the fact that Windows 11 will soon be the new normal, and I bought an off-lease Dell from Amazon and upgraded the SSD from a 256 gig to 1 terabyte. And I moved it from the cable connection to the PCIe connection, so SATA to M.2. I thought it might run faster on the PCIe connection, even though it's still SATA. No, it's not going to run faster. I should also specify when I bought the off-lease Dell, it was an 8th gen, and it was successful without any problems. I unchecked the box requiring the Microsoft account. I had a problem with Amazon, but it's been resolved. After I bought the off-lease Dell from Amazon, I updated their Windows 10. When I first bought the PC, I noticed it shipped from Chandler, Arizona. No, I noticed it shipped from Baltimore, Maryland. When I ordered the next 2, oh, I see, he ordered several. I get it. From using the same link on Amazon, those shipped from Chandler, Arizona. When the second set of PCs arrived, I'd already planned and ordered an M2 SATA to replace the 2.5-inch SATA drives. When I went to install the M2 SATA drives, I noticed there were no screws to hold the drive in place, and I had to call Dell because it's a proprietary screw. That's right. I ordered 4 screws. Those shipped from Ohio. I got the screws a couple days ago, put them in, and went to install software from the USB drive, and noticed only then there's no VGA or serial ports on the back of these units. They were empty. They had a display port available instead. So Dell business class off-lease computers are all display port. That's all you've ever seen on this channel. That's all I've ever shown. All those giveaways we've done, all of them are display port, except when I changed some of the Dell mini PCs we gave away had the option to add a little HDMI port card, and I bought the cards on eBay and I upgraded them myself, but we did not get them that way. But again, not a big deal. But yeah, the business class computers expect DisplayPort outputs only. That's normal, especially on Dell and HP. So we ordered adapters for it. Yeah, that's easy anyway. You don't have to switch anything out. A $10 adapter is all you need. I contacted the seller through Amazon, and they discounted me some money to offset the expense of the adapter. Oh, that's nice. The adapters came in today, so I hope to be making forward progress again soon. I understand what happened, and I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier. Dell has so many types of PCs. Like you said in your video, these refurbishing companies have so many units coming in, they just plug it in, they make sure it works, and move on to the next one. You're probably wondering what this has to do with you. Nothing. But hang in there, buddy. Soon you'll be heading to Studio D, Detroit, in the sticks and the boonies. Well, it's Grand Rapids, other side. But yeah, I'll probably still be watching. Until then, he says bye for now. And this is from Thomas Kukela. Thomas, thank you so much. A very generous contribution to the channel. Came at a great time. And I can't thank you enough. I hope the processor works. Anytime you buy off-lease computers, expect there's two different kinds of computers. There's off-lease and there's refurbished. And of course, refurbished off-lease kind of implies refurbished. But a refurbished computer, like a typical Dell that would be sold at Best Buy that gets refurbished, those are for consumers. Those will always have HDMI ports. The business class computers will almost always have just display ports. That's the normal business class output. Now, the good news is a $10 adapter from DisplayPort to HDMI will allow you to continue to use whatever HDMI cables and HDMI monitors you have, but also check your monitor, because if your monitor has a DisplayPort input, for $10, you can just buy a DisplayPort cable. And the problem with adapters is they break, right? It's a connection point that could be a problem at some point. So if you can just have a solid cable with no attachments on it, just one end and the other end, then you only have to worry about the ends getting loose or breaking off, because you've, like me, I'm plugging and unplugging cables, and they're not meant to be, like the cables I buy, they're not meant to be plugged and unplugged all the time. Like Ethernet cables. When you're installing Ethernet cables, we use solid core wire when we're installing into the walls, because that cable's never going to move. But when we make a patch cable, it's got to be flexible. We're going to unplug it, move it around. The solid core copper will break, just like bending a piece of metal back and forth, and it breaks inside. So we use stranded wire on patch cables, solid core wire inside the walls. So think about that when you're using any kind of wire. The flexibility of that wire, the stiffer it is, the more likely that's a solid core wire and is intended to be placed and left alone, maybe moved a couple of times. A more flexible wire is usually stranded cable, and that's intended to be flexible and plugged in and plugged out. And then they'll often have little boots on the end so that you don't break where the wire goes into the keystone or into the RJ45 jack. That's where it bends and breaks most often. So there'll always, a cable that's meant to be moved around will have a boot on it, and a cable that's just meant to be plugged in and left alone won't. So the HDMI cables and DisplayPort cables I'm using do not have boots on them. They're meant to be plugged in like in a home theater PC or a home theater. You plug in your TV, you're done. And then whenever you upgrade your TV, you unplug it, plug it into the next TV. You wouldn't be changing that cable out very often. But I'm always plugging in mini PCs and things, and I'm breaking cables. The good news is cables are cheap, and especially those super thin ones I like, they break real easy. So I abuse the heck out of them. But just know what to expect, and you can tell just by looking at the cable. Thank you so much for sending the letter and going through the effort, honestly. Not many people do that anymore these days, where they actually write a letter and they take it to the post office. I appreciate that so much. And that's about the third or fourth letter over the years we've gotten from Thomas. And again, if he's in the chat room, I don't know his chat name. Frankie B with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Frankie. Peter VZ out there in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, right? Holland. Renews his membership. He's now a member for 15 months. He says, hello, Carey and chat. Good to see you, Peter. Thank you for renewing your membership. Paul Howe says hello. Garfield Rupe says hello. Raj D says hello. Nick Caffrey with a €5 contribution says hello. It's great to be here. Well, happy to have you, Nick. Thank you. William Denton says hello. William Denton says he has this monitor and it's great. What can you tell us about it, William? What do you like about it? Essential Working Too Hard and Chris Johnson, Darren Gilholm, Peter Nelson, all say hello. There's Terry. And Scott saying hello. Right on. So I don't see anybody named Thomas saying, hey, that's me. I really would like to know. It's not Thomas Mac T, is it? I think it is. Charles Purdy and 3D Everything saying hello. Welcome in, guys. All right. Now, as you can see, oh, Mark Gaines contributes £5. Time for a phone check. Jose Lopez with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Jose. Cheers, Mark. Check the phone. All right, we'll check the phone and then we're going to start on this. We're 23 minutes into a monologue, so I don't want to take that too far. Phone check, he says. An Amazon gift card from Mark Gaines for $50. Thank you so much. Hello to our friend Bill Leatherland, who's been watching us for years out there in UK, who wrote in to say hello, and just a shout out to him. Great friend of the channel. Okay, the HX99G might look familiar to you. When you see pictures of this, you might say, didn't you do this already? Yes and no. The technology, as you're well aware, it moves very, very quickly. So when we go from one processor to the next generation, sometimes all you need to do is change the processor, maybe change the RAM, but you can keep your manufacturing tooling all the same. So if you remember, we had an HX77G, which I believe was the first one from Minisforum that utilized this case design. Also, these are all promoted as mini gaming PCs. They're almost always AMD based because the GPUs are built into the CPUs, and those GPUs are just better at gaming than Intel's. Now, that will change, but for now, that's just the way it is. Well, they improved the HX77G. They have the HX99G, the HX100G. For whatever reason, and I don't know why, we skipped over the 99G. We went from the 77 to the 100. And the 99 is actually about a year old. But I mentioned being first is always expensive. Being next is much cheaper. So this doesn't sell for as much as it used to a year ago when it was first. Like if I did this when it first came out, it would cost you more money than it does today. On the other hand, if you want the latest and greatest, there's models above this, but they're going to cost more money. There's also models below this, and they're going to cost less money. So you're definitely going to get what you pay for depending on what your needs are. So this ideally will meet some of your needs. The configuration on this is an AMD, you're sitting down, Ryzen 9 6900HX. It has a Radeon RX 6600M. So that's a mobile, I believe that's a mobile GPU, like a laptop Radeon. I don't think that's the one built into the processor. I think that's discrete. 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage. So yeah, I'm just looking around to see if there's anything I'm missing. Still in the shrink wrap, both products. I've never opened them before. I've not studied them. I don't know what to expect, but here's what we can do together. Let's look and see how they're being promoted. Ron Varnish renews his membership, now a member for 25 months. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Ron. He says, time flies by. You better hope so. You better hope so. I wouldn't want time to go so slowly. It was like, oh, is this ever going to end? You know, like my videos. Planet Kraus with $5 says, I'm thinking on a similar color for my studio. Some type of gray looks good. This is Almara here, this color of gray. Well, we agreed on it, but trying to define agree. Do what I say. Okay. Peter with a €1 super chat contribution. Thank you, Peter. What was this gray called? Trying to remember. Mara? Sparrow. From Home Depot? I think it was from Home Depot. Did we get it from home? Who makes it? Who's the
BEHR.
Bear makes it. So
Correct.
Bear, BEHR, a
Right.
major paint manufacturer, sold at home.
They also make Rainmaster.
So Rainmaster was a darker gray for the borders, but it's not dark enough. You can barely tell. I mean, unless you have really bright light, we should have gone darker. There's no borders in here. We just have white baseboards and a white ceiling to contrast off the gray. But we're going to do more. This won't stay a blank wall. We're going to do something with it. Maybe have some PCs behind me. Maybe put my Galaga machine back there. Still haven't figured that out yet. But, you know, we have great showcase computers such as the Xenos build, the Tube, the Spaceship. I would love to have those on display. And maybe have the arcade, but I don't think the wall's big enough for that. We could turn the whole studio 180 degrees and go against the other wall. Or I could have two sets and have one set where I'm just like doing a vlog sitting down, and then the standing set with a desk. I haven't decided. We'll get there. And I'm not quite sure there's enough room. There might be, but that does require two separate cameras, two separate complete sets, right? Anyway, exciting things are to come. I'm glad you like the color. It's definitely better than white, isn't it? And a shout out to our handyman, Tom, who did all the work. Fantastic job. Great job. There used to be a window right over there. You would never know there was a window. If we kept that window there, we'd have to have drapes. And then if we didn't, light would come in and you just see a silhouette of me. And yeah. Would you know there was a window there? Shh, don't tell anybody. All right. So let's get on with it. Minisforum. Neptune HX99G is the mini PC. We're going to talk about this first, and then we're going to talk about the gaming portable monitors. As an irregular portable monitor, you're going to notice this is a bit more money because, well, we're going to find out together exactly why. Remember, you get what you pay for, all right? So most portable monitors are not 144 hertz. That's just where we're starting as an example. Let me grab my window capture so you guys can see the Minisforum website. Now, the link that I'm looking at right now, the Minisforum store, is available in our video, in the video description below this video. And the reason I go to Minisforum first is to show you there are options available and different prices than what's at Amazon. But you have an option. It's up to you where you want to buy from. Let's say, for example, you want a bare bone computer. In other words, you're going to put in your own RAM, you're going to put in your own storage, and you're going to put in your own operating system. Well, Minisforum will sell you this computer, the whole thing, without RAMs, without storage, and without an operating system for only $600. All right. And for $600, you're getting the AMD Ryzen 9 6900HX CPU, motherboard, cooler. You're getting the 6600M Radeon graphics card, which maybe it's built into the, I don't know. Let's keep scrolling down. Let's see what it says. CPU and GPU. Oh, it is discrete. It says it's a discrete graphics card. So that means this is not a part of the CPU. This is a mobile graphics card, like what would be used in a laptop. RDNA 2. The Ryzen 9 6900X is 8 cores and 16 threads with a base clock of 3.3, a turbo up to 4.9. The M.2 is Gen 4, next generation form factor, SATA or NVMe PCIe by 4. Windows 11 Pro is pre-installed. We'll verify that. It's DDR5, 4800 speed. You have 2 SODIMM slots. SODIMM is the kind of memory laptops take. Dual 4K plus dual 8K displays because you have 2 HDMI outputs at 4K and USB 4, which supports 8K at 60. So you can use all 4 of these at the same time. Scrolling down, carbon fiber armor. So we're just talking about how the case is. It's not like a 3D printed case, right? Talk about the thermals. Everybody on the internet's obsessed with heat. So they talk about, how they focused on making sure it stays cool and doesn't get too loud. But when you get to this level of power consumption, you generate a lot of heat. And so I'm sure if you work it hard, you're going to be aware of it. Like there's only so much you can do. If you want a quieter computer, you want a less powerful, less power hungry computer. So there's a give and take, and it's just like having a car with a lot of horsepower, you're not going to get good gas mileage. One goes with the other. So a little bit about the graphics card here, which is, very technical stuff, 8 gig max memory size. We're going to keep scrolling. And a little comparison between an RTX 3060, 3050 Ti, and where this sits with in comparison to those others. As we scroll down, we'll see some examples of frames per second in some games. And this puzzles me because there's Apex Legend and Battlegrounds and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Forza Horizon 5, God of War, Ragnarok, right? Out of the thousands of games available, why did they pick these 5? I don't know. So probably, I was talking with, speaking of games, I was speaking with JJ from Asus, and I mentioned, how do they pick these games? Like, what are the odds that somebody plays these exact games? Of all the games you can play, what can you derive from how it plays Red Dead Redemption to how it's going to play Fortnite? I don't understand. And he said, Carey, you've raised a good point. He said, did you know, this is from JJ, did you know the most popular game played is Sims 4 with over 85 million worldwide players? Have you ever seen a reviewer, when they're testing gaming PCs, ever test the frames per second in performance on the single most popular game, Sims 4? That's what I'm talking about. Why don't they do that? He says, that's a great question. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll go get Sims 4 and do it, because does anybody here in the chat play Sims 4? I'm just curious, because I played The Sims back in the 90s, if that counts. And Lemmings is a great game. And Earthworm Jim. But I might be dating myself. Let me jump over into the chat room here real quick and see how much I'm getting laughed at. And Morton Bob says we need a studio dog. Did you hear that, Mara?
I agree.
We need a big studio dog.
We need some dogs and some cats.
No cats.
Yes, cats.
Just like a big Saint Bernard.
And we need guinea pigs.
Guinea
and we need
pigs.
chinchillas.
No guinea pigs and no chinchillas.
And we need birds.
No birds.
And we need some insects.
Go outside. I'll take you to the zoo.
Okay.
Dr. Doolittle. All right. William Denton says the display has great resolution. He has one of these. I've used it on my first computer builds. The script on the instruction cards inside is so tiny I can barely figure out what it'll do. We'll look at it together. I got my glasses. And Morton Bob thinks in 2 years' time, Minisforum is going to be releasing handheld. Oh, maybe. I kind of feel like smartphones are going to just have an attachment. The idea of having separate devices when you can converge everything into one, people would rather just carry around one thing. That hasn't really taken off yet. There have been a few gaming smartphones. However, they've never quite grabbed a hold yet. But you might be right. Time will tell. Lou Greenia says, I'm not a gamer. I suck at them. Peter Nelson says, I love Sims 4. Well, there you go. Lemmings and Wolfenstein 3D and Doom and Duke Nukem. Peter, you are speaking my language. I learned networking so I could play Duke Nukem 3D with my friends in the house. 10 base 2. Lou Greeny says, I wanted to let you know I got a Windows 10 Pro key from VIP CDK deals for a system I'm helping a friend build. And the transaction went super smooth and the key activated flawlessly. Thank you for the update, Lou. Thank you for supporting the channel by purchasing your key from them. And that's why I recommend them, is they are good. When people have a problem, that's not normal. But we are here to help you. If there are any problems, you reach out to their customer service and give them an opportunity to correct it. If they don't correct it, you bring it to our attention. Use the channel email, let us know, and we'll step in and advocate for you and make sure it gets done one way or the other. David Graham says he's an action RPG guy. Ken Doty says he plays Fallout and Oblivion. Frank Jimmy mentioned Steam has a portable Steam Deck. Yeah, and didn't NVIDIA have was it the Switch? Dwayne wants to know if the light coming from this side is a window or a light. It's a window. Yeah, we have natural light coming in here. In fact, at Studio B, it was the same thing. We had a window to my right. And what I did a lot of times is I would block that window so I could control the light in the studio. But as you can tell, regular sunlight is much better than studio light unless you know what you're doing, right? With studio lights, they have to be a certain color temperature and a certain angle to not create shadows and not be too cold and blue and not be too warm and yellow. It's a struggle. And then you have to step around them and they take up a lot of space and they suck up a lot of power and they generate a lot of heat. This is just what nature made, and you just use it. You don't have to configure it. So guess which one I like, right? Captain Linsky said he plays Tomb Raider, Tekken, and Need for Speed. All right. I was the best at Unreal Tournament. You get me in the level November, you're losing. You better be on my team. Just play with a keyboard. No joystick, no controller. Just give me a keyboard, an Unreal Tournament, and leave me alone for about 27 hours. I'll put on some Rammstein, some Metallica, let that play while I'm on Unreal Tournament, along with the game effects. Turn the game music off, put my own music on. That was 20 years ago. I don't have much time for that today. Headshot. Never mind. Did I play with a mouse? Oh, yeah, I used the mouse, of course. The mouse and keyboard, but I didn't use a controller. That's all I'm saying. It's the mouse and the keyboard. Basically, the keyboard moved me forward, backward, left, or right. All the mouse was for aiming and firing. I believe that's what aiming and firing with the mouse, and movement, jumping, ducking, going forward, going backward, left or right. That's all keyboard. So it's a two-handed thing. Steve McCurr says, hey, Uncle Carey, I'm liking the new studio. Hey, this is bare minimum. This is just a blank wall, but we're off to a good start. If you like a blank wall, just wait till you see what we do. Thank you. Dwayne Blackwelder says he's been playing Destiny 2 for about 5 years. Right on. I think I picked up Destiny 2 for the Xbox and I never played it because I think there's no solo player mode, if I remember. You have to play it online. Or was that Destiny? I think I still have it in a box. It's here somewhere. There's a new Doom coming out next year. Doom, I forget what it's called. Brand new version of Doom. It looks fantastic, and it'll be available for Xbox as well. So I might have to break the Xbox out, blow the dust off of it to check out this new version of Doom. There's a trailer online for it if you want to look it up here on YouTube. Tim Teal says, hello, Carey, chat, and Mara. Happy Friday, everyone. David Collins said he had a nice Unreal Tournament setup with an MMX 166 CPU, Pentium, 64 megs of RAM, and a Voodoo 2 graphics card. Now we're talking. And you probably had a Sound Blaster AW64 or something. Nick Caffrey said he made a mistake when he ordered. He was trying to get Windows 10. He made a mistake with the order, but VIP CDK Deal sorted it out for him in 20 minutes. What I'm talking about. There's always more good stories. Every once in a while, somebody has an issue, but we always get it resolved no matter what. Stand behind. If I'm here telling you about Acronis and I'm telling you about Roboform and VIP CDK Deals, it's because I use them myself and I recommend them to my customers. And if you have an experience that is not ideal or does not meet your expectation, make them aware and give them an opportunity to correct it. That's your first step. If they don't correct it, so you have to understand how unlikely this is. Most transactions go through, it's no problem. You might have a problem, very unlikely. If you do, let them know and give them an opportunity to fix it. If they don't fix it, that's even more unlikely. Then you reach out to me, okay? And you tell me what the situation is, and we will get it solved for you. Just so you know, there's always peace of mind if you're dealing with anything that I'm promoting here on the channel. I stand behind it. I don't know any other content creator that does that. So you always have peace of mind. If it's something I am promoting, I use it myself, or I won't recommend it. That's it. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to make sure that you guys get good quality products at a great price that will benefit you. Now, whether or not you need it, I can't tell you. But if you do need it, you know, Acronis is a great backup software. RoboForm is the only password manager as far as I'm concerned. The rest are just crap. They're very inexpensive, very affordable. They all have free trials, so you can try them and decide for yourself if you agree with me or you don't agree with me. Yeah. So when we talk about this machine, for example, we were back over at the Minisforum webpage and we were looking at the specs and we kind of got off on gaming. Let's get back to this. Squirrel. So here they're showing 4 monitors all running simultaneously. And as we scroll down, you'll see the exploded view of what's inside. Now, because I don't have a close-up camera and my tools are not yet put away, we're not opening this up today because I have to find my tools. I'd have to figure out how to give you close-ups. But here's what's inside. All right, so we're not going to find anything different. And if you look at the HX77G review we did or the HX100G we did, it's effectively the same case build. It opens the same way. Maybe one's DDR4, one's DDR5, you know, different processors. But overall, same case design. And it just kind of points out what everything is, right? And we keep scrolling down. And we've got a little bit more detail on the heat sinks and fans, where they're located and why. And we have the ports. So here we have the front of the unit. It's got a USB 4 Type-C at the top. Why does it not say that? It's got USB 3.1 Gen 1 on the Type A USB, headphone and microphone jacks, a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-C port here. But then what's this? Maybe that's nothing. Maybe that thing at the top is nothing because nothing's pointing to it. So this is your Type-C up front and your illuminated power button. That illuminates when it's on, so you know it's on. Power supply is a 4-pin DIN connection, so you're not going to mix that barrel connector up with anything else. I like that. But be careful with it. Those pins break off, you're going to be buying a new power supply. You've got 2 display ports. We were just talking about that. 2 display ports and 2 HDMI ports. We've got USB 3.2 Gen 2 in the back. We've got 3 of those, right? This pair, and then one down here by the Ethernet port, which is a 2.5 gig Ethernet. This also has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. This is everything in the box. There's your power brick. There's a stand that requires screws to secure this so it can be vertical, which is how it's intended to be, so it can breathe properly. You've got an HDMI cable, power cable, screws, and your owner's manual. And of course, feel free to read the reviews. That's the other benefit. Because this product has been out for a year, you have pages and pages and pages of reviews. One of the things I always miss on Minisforum's website, and I want to draw it to your attention because you probably miss it too, is if we go all the way up here, check this out. I always go right by this. It's usually quite right at the top. The default is this Meet HX99G, but specification, there's all the good stuff. And it's just kind of, I don't know. That's not where I would have put it. I always forget it's there. So you've got all your specs right here. And then finally, what's that last tab? FAQs. So frequently asked questions. This is an F and Q. Hey, Mara, what's an F and Q? You know? Frequently and questions? I think somebody has a typo. I mean, it almost sounds like it means something else. Hey, buddy, F and Q. What?
Well, facts and questions still works.
Facts and questions?
Yeah.
But are they related? Are the questions, are these facts? Or are we questioning the facts?
On the specifications, they have different models of.
Oh, on the specs? Oh, because there's different variations of
It's confusing.
Yeah, well, there's the, okay, you're right. Yeah, there's the HX100G, and then below is the HX99G. And the no, they're just two separate models. The 100G and the 99G.
They don't really separate it.
They do. They put a box around it, and then everything below them, I guess, is the same.
But you're saying, I guess, which is confusing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But here's the thing. If you go to Amazon, this is already pre-configured with 32 gigs of DDR5, dual channel, 1 terabyte NVMe solid state drive, and Windows 11. Is it Pro or Home? I don't know. We'll find out. $889. Free returns for up to 30 days. Now, don't be confused with all these other models down here. And when you read reviews, whenever a seller on Amazon does this, where they mix products up on one page, and you I want to see the ratings, right? You've got to check with which product on this page the rating is for. Don't assume it's for the product you're looking at. Amazon does not segregate the reviews. In other words, if the manufacturer is selling socks, I think this is the idea. You've got small, medium, large, and extra large. You have to pick which one you want. And maybe the large is 6 pairs of socks, and maybe the extra large is only 4 pairs of socks. Maybe there are green socks and there's blue socks. So what follows is anybody buys any size or color of the socks, they're the same socks. So all the reviews, regardless, stay under the same sales page. But when it's computers or it's variations of configurations, you've got to read what they're talking about right here, where it says UM890. Well, this is not a UM890. The UM790, this is not a UM790. This person didn't like this, whatever this was. I don't know. It's not what we're looking at today. There's the HX99G. Hey, that's us. 5 stars. They said it's quiet, and they're a verified purchaser for whatever that's worth. John Smith, if that's his real name. Anyway, I want you to be aware of that because this is quite common on a lot of Amazon pages. When you're shopping, and the way you're going to know is you got to see if there's any of these little boxes. Okay, if you look at other pages, you won't have all these options. Then the reviews are only for the one thing. But these will be reviewed all under the same page, just so you know. If you see this, watch for that in the reviews. For example, if we look at the monitor, if we go over to the monitor, you notice there's no boxes here, right? There's no options. It's this or nothing. This is what we're accustomed to usually when we're buying products. But sometimes products have different configurable options, whether we're talking size, color, or in this case, configuration. So this page is one product, and the reviews will only be for this product. So if we go to the reviews, are there no reviews? Oh. Hey, William, you should leave a review on Amazon. We'll leave one. I don't mind being the first to review it. About this monitor, this is a 15.6-inch monitor. Now, before you go, oh, it's too small, it's a portable monitor. If it were too big, it wouldn't be very portable. Now, would it? It's a crunchy frog. It's still got bones in it. Well, of course it has the bones in it, or it wouldn't be crunchy now, would it? Old Monty Python sketch. So it's a 15.6-inch monitor, but it's a 2K monitor at 144 hertz. Okay, so QHD. I think it's also, is it touchscreen? It's IPS, which is my favorite. When I'm buying a monitor for my personal taste, my subjective personal taste, I like IPS monitors. Touch interaction, take control of your digital world with portable monitor, responsive 10-point touch support. It's fashionable and lightweight. I don't know if it's fashionable, but okay. I guess it comes with a carrying case. It weighs 900 grams. Mini HDMI, fully featured Type-C ×2, micro USB, and a headphone jack. That's pretty neat because what that tells me with Type-C is we can hook up a Type-C cable directly out of our PC right into the monitor. And if that supports power delivery, we can not only power the monitor, but also feed the video through that one Type-C cable. We'll have to try that. Let's find out. And just to take a look at what Minisforum says about it, little bit more expensive here than Amazon. Oh, wait, there's a, oh, yeah, it looks like it's a little pricier to buy it direct. That's unusual. Ultra thin, lightweight. Gaming, this is intended for gaming. You can buy a cheaper monitor if you don't need that resolution and refresh rate. That's 15-inch portable. You can buy it for half the price and it'll be half the resolution. You understand what I'm saying? Like it won't be a touch screen at $100. Stuff like that, you get what you pay for. 400 nit peak brightness. I don't know what the cheaper monitors brightness are, but I would imagine they're not this bright. IPS it means in-plane switching. I just know it as IPS. That's the technology behind the screen. 1001 contrast ratio. I don't know how manufacturers come up with that. This very slim, and then just at the base, you'll see it gets wider. We've got all our connectors right there: HDMI, USB-C, USB-C, and micro USB, all on that one side. Refresh at 144 times per second, providing a more precise and detailed display effect. Yeah. I don't know what screenshots are good for unless they're on the monitor. It supports 2560 by 1440 on a 15-inch monitor. There's a difference right there. There's what 1080p full HD versus 2K quad HD looks like. I think that's quad. Isn't that quad? I don't know. 178-degree viewing angle. I don't know why you'd be off to the side, but maybe somebody's watching you game. You can connect with a single cable. If you connect with they even include the cable. It's a USB Type-C. The monitor powers up simultaneously as your PC, allowing for hassle-free single cable setup for efficient plug-and-play operation. Remember, it's portable, right? So you don't have cables everywhere. And because it's touchscreen, I guess you don't technically need a keyboard and mouse, but probably want one. Here they're showing it as a second monitor used with a laptop, but you could buy a cheaper monitor. I mean, unless you're using the laptop for gaming, you can hook it up to your smartphone. You can hook it up to your tablet. You can hook it up to your console. You can hook it up to your camera if you're a digital photographer. You can put it horizontal. You can put it vertical. It's got a magnetic protective case. The display, I think it auto rotates. Does it auto rotate? Well, it can be switched to landscape or portrait view through the system settings. Okay, so it doesn't auto. On the other side, there's the headphone jack. There's the volume keys, or plus and minus keys, which I don't think this has volume. And then, of course, we have an on and off switch. 30-watt power adapter is also included, but if you use the included USB Type-C, you wouldn't need the 30-watt power adapter. That's the point, right? You would only plug in the mini PC, and the mini PC would power the monitor through the USB-C, while also providing the video signal through the same cable. It's pretty darn cool. It's got great reviews. I mean, even though it doesn't have any on Amazon, it's got great reviews of 4.6 out of 5 here at Minisforum's website. So let me go back to the main camera. Here I am. And time to do the unboxing. It doesn't get any more real than this. We are live, unscripted, and I've never opened this up before. So we'll see how it's packaged. We'll see if we get any dead on arrival products or anything missing out of the box, just so you have some confidence of what to expect if you decide to buy one. If anything's missing, broken, or doesn't work, you're going to see it live. But I will tell you, manufacturing quality has improved over the years, and it very rarely happens. You never know when it's live, though. We cannot edit out anything we don't like. All right. So if you like real, you're in the right place. There we go. Documentation. Now you'll get a reference to the size, right? By me holding it. Put that right over there. We have some holes here. That's for the stand to screw in. could just set it up. It's just more easily knocked over without the stand. You don't have to use the stand. What's left? HDMI, standard PC power adapter, right there. I guess it's not a power. The power adapter's in the box. That's technically the power. This little metal piece screws on to this metal piece. This is all metal, by the way. And then that screws on to that. So this is lifted up a little bit and tilted. Looks pretty darn cool. And to attach this, we've got this piece, this piece. We should have, yeah, there's 2 bags of screws in here. This piece uses 4 screws to connect to the base down here. This piece uses 2 screws to connect to the PC. Now, we have demonstrated this on the HX99 and HX100. So to just keep things moving, we'll just leave it like that. Now, the power brick. You know how I feel about these power bricks. I really want the manufacturer's name on them, which this does not have. But because this is not a standard barrel connector, the likelihood of being able to plug this into something else, very unlikely. The problem with barrel connectors is your clock radio. Anybody use a clock radio? Any electronic device that needs power oftentimes uses a barrel connector. But the barrel connector's voltage is very important. So let's say we've just moved from Studio B to Studio C, right? And when I moved, I was very careful to keep everything together. This panel and these screws go with that case. And this motherboard box of spare parts goes with that computer. Can you imagine the mess if we just threw everything in a box and moved it and had to figure it out? That's like a nightmare for me. Well, people do that. So let's say you're going through the garage or you're looking at something and you're like, I want to use this again. And you just start plugging in random power adapters with the logic that if the plug fits, it's the right one. Don't ever do that. Unless you don't care about what you're plugging it into, because that's how you can get smoke. Anyway, what I like to do on these, if they don't have a manufacturer's name on them, and if they are a standard barrel connector, which this is not, is just take a silver Sharpie or a label maker and just write what it goes to on it. Super easy. I really would encourage all manufacturers to brand their power bricks. But again, this power brick has a 4-pin DIN connector. So likely you don't have anything else in your house that this will fit in. Let's plug it in. I think I need to move everything over. All my cables are over on this side of the desk, so bear with me for a second because we are live. You know what? There's some room here. Move this over here. Yeah, I'll just keep making a pile behind. Okay, power. Keyboard and mouse. Turn that on. We'll turn this on and boy, I hate to use a USB Type-C for a keyboard. That's all we got. It's fine. I don't want to plug it into the internet or connect it to Wi-Fi on the first boot. I don't want Microsoft to force me to create a Microsoft account. So we wait till we go through the Windows out of box experience, you know, the license agreement and all that stuff. Once all that's set up, we get to the desktop, then I can plug it in or connect it to Wi-Fi. And that's why I do it that way. Imagine if I'm building a computer for you. Just think about this for a minute. I'm a system builder. Imagine I'm building a computer for you and I'm installing Windows for you along with all the drivers you're going to need, making sure everything works. And when I install Windows, because I'm connected to the network, Microsoft says, sign into your Microsoft account. What do? Do I sign into my Microsoft account so all of the files are cached on your machine and my login is cached? Or do I ask you for your Microsoft account? And what if you don't have one? Do I create it for you and say, here's your username and here's your password? You can create your own Microsoft account. You can connect to one you've already got, but it would be very unprofessional for me to sell it to you that way. So I always create a local account, and I personally don't use a Microsoft account. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't like tea. All right, I've got a power cable there somewhere. Oh, what do I do with it? Uh-oh. I guess I'm going to use their power cable. Wait, I got one right here. Got to remember where this goes. Or that PC won't have a power cable. I'm going to rob from Peter to pay Paul. But yeah, this is just a standard PC power cable. So we'll just plug that in down here. And then I just need an HDMI input to our capture card. Yeah, just had to go down to the basement for a second. Okay, there's power. Use any of the HDMI ports. So here's the thing. Remember the pictures. So I'm going to bring this to Minisforum's attention. I believe the pictures we were looking at were for the HX100. And the reason I say that is this machine does not have 2 display ports. Remember, the description said it could run 4 monitors, remember? 2 through USB 4 Type-C connectors. And the model they're showing has 2 DisplayPort and 2 HDMI. This has no DisplayPort. So there is some difference between the website. Now, whether that's my fault because maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing, but again, when you have multiple models and they're all sharing the same page under different tabs, I don't know. Or maybe it's a mistake. However, rest assured, this has no DisplayPort as pictured. There are 2 USB 4 ports right here. So I'm going to use HDMI. We're going to leave it offline, and we're going to turn it on for the very first time. You ready? Got a blue light. I feel air coming out of it. Let's switch over to our, I think I called this camera 2. I think. Give it a second. It's not close-up camera. That one's not doing anything. HDMI input. That one's not doing anything. Yep, it is camera 2. I just am impatient. Okay, first boot. Got to wait for that post. Holy cow. First time post is going to take longer than future posts, okay? That's not going to be every time. Also, if you keep adding more RAM, you're going to take longer and longer to post because your system BIOS has to check all your RAM. So if you're somebody who puts 192 gigs of RAM in your desktop, I bet it takes a long time to boot to your computer. But the RAM made it go faster. Not necessarily. It sometimes can make it go slower. You know, a couple of aspirin to cure a headache is great, but the whole bottle, not so much. Proper amount of oil in your car is great. Add more, not so great. I can't think of anything in life where moderation isn't ideal and sustainable, and indulgence, it causes harm. So more is not always better. All right, here we go. Keyboard and mouse. Now I can see. English, yes. United States. US keyboard with no secondary language on the keyboard. I don't want to connect. I click right here. I don't have internet. Yay, that's an option. I didn't have to do the bypass NRO. Continue with limited setup, which means you have to tell it twice. There's your license agreement. We hit accept. We enter a username. HX99G. How's that? No. You know what? I'm going to call this user, and then I'll name the computer on the network HX99G. Leave the password blank so it just boots right to the desktop. You know what I do here. Come on. You've been watching for a while, right? How many times have you guys seen me do this? Who's got the high score? Here we go. It's getting things ready. Captain Blinsky says Sharpie markers are lifesavers, along with Velcro and duct tape. Duct, D-U-C-T. It's for air ducts, not for. You're going quackers. Paul Gray says, "G'day. Did you wake up already, Paul?" David Graham says, "Stickers make it go faster." That's right. You ever seen a race car win a race that didn't have stickers on it? I mean, come on. Everybody knows that. There's Barry Klein saying hello. Paul O'Brien says hello. Paul O'Brien says we should get an Irish wolfhound, Mara. They don't. Their hair is wiry. I want a soft dog. I don't want to pet a Brillo pad. Well, I hope you can lift up its poops. It's basically an elephant in the shape of a dog. You know, the bigger the dog is, the sweeter they are. But they also have short lifespan.
I'll take any animal of any type.
Any animal?
Any animal of any type.
Would you take a Carey? They're pretty rare and feral.
The best animal on the planet.
You're going to have to house train it. Just marking all my territory.
I'll make you litter box trained.
It's never going to work. The world is my litter box. Didn't you see me throw my litter at the camera? What do you mean by litter? Are we talking about two different things?
Yeah.
Oil tape is for ducts. No, well, duct tape. Duct tape. But there is duct tape, which is a name brand of duct tape, which I think is hilarious. I'm such a nerd. I mean, that's such a stupid thing to... When somebody's like, well, actually, and nobody likes being corrected. It's not nice. I apologize. Call it duct tape. Maybe you're taping up ducks. I don't know. That explains all the... Never mind. All right, let's go back. Let's go back here. I think it's ready, isn't it? Oh yeah, it's ready. Sorry, I thought I was on camera one that whole time. I didn't realize I never switched over. Okay, here we go, back to the desktop. Now that we have this at the desktop, here I am. Let me put myself in a corner. And you can see both. Sorry about that. I'm working on a half-built studio, so I apologize. We're doing the best we can, makeshift. Now, I can plug it into the network, and we have a great network here, as I mentioned. Ooh. Why is this cable? There it is. Network cable. Let's plug that in, and then we'll see the little globe down there become a little monitor. This little globe right down here. Once it initializes and is obtaining an IP address, it's going to turn to a little screen. Then we know we're connected, at least to our network, right? Which should be also on the internet if the internet's working properly. So now that we've done that, now we can get our updates. We can also check a little bit of the specs. So let's do both of those things at the same time. Let me get rid of camera one so you can see the screen fully. First thing I do on a brand new build, and this is exactly the same process I recommend all of you do, get your updates before you do anything. Don't worry about email. Don't worry about your printers. Don't worry about your flash drives or your backup drives. Brand new machine. First thing you want to do, check for updates, okay? And while I'm checking for updates, I also want updates to install automatically. So it looks like I went back too far on here. No, that's right. Windows Update. Where's my options? Advanced options. That's what I was looking for. And I want to turn on receive updates for other Microsoft products. That's like Microsoft Office, etc. I want it to keep me up to date. And I want it to notify me when a restart is, when Windows Update wants to I don't want it to just do it on its own. I want it to at least warn me and give me some control of, hey, you need to restart. And then you can do that now or you can do it later. Tell me what you want to do. But I want to know, okay? So that should all be on by default, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to optional updates, kind of feel like this shouldn't be as hidden. These are usually drivers. And like the display, I don't have an AOC monitor. I don't know what this is, but that's what it's detecting. It won't hurt to get it. I want to see 0 updates when I go here. I don't care what they are. I'm not going to spend time to research all this. They didn't program, develop them, and pay for the bandwidth for them for fun. And we're getting them for free. Take them. They're protecting you. Now, let's go right-click on the Start button, and let's go to the Device Manager, just to make sure everything is installed properly, that all the drivers from the factory. Remember, if you order this bare bones, you're going to have to figure out all your drivers. You're going to have to go to the Minisforum website. You're going to find the driver download. You're going to do a lot more work if you order bare bones. Network adapters. What do we have? It's an Intel i226V Ethernet control, Ethernet wired adapter, and a MediaTek Wi-Fi 6 and 6E wireless card with Bluetooth. All right, so some people need to know this if they're going to switch the operating system to Linux or something like that. We do have TPM, obviously. It's required for Windows 11. Bypassing security is like driving around the gates that come down when a train is getting ready. You're a fool if you drive around those barriers. They're there to protect you. Bypassing the TPM requirement is only hurting you. All right, so let's go to System, and let's see what version of Windows we have here. And let's make sure it's activated. See, like here, the device name, I'll change that to HX99G, because I don't know what this is on my network. AMD Ryzen 9 6900X, 32 gigs of RAM, 31.3 is usable because I guess our graphics card is using a little bit of it. Windows 11 Pro 21H2. Remember, this computer was first available a year ago, so I will excuse this. Kind of. 21. You would think this would at least be 22. 22 would be, 23 would be a year ago. 22 would be 2 years ago. 21 would be 3 years ago. This is a very old version of Windows 11. So I expect, if we go back to Windows updates, it's going to offer us, let me see, what's on the list? Download now. Still can't figure out what my monitor is. That's hilarious. Okay, so once we get these updates, it's eventually going to say, hey, you need an update to 22 or 23H2. We want to be on 23H2. This may take some time, and that's why you want to do this first before you start configuring the computer with your printer and all your programs. Don't jump right into that, because as long as these updates are not installed, you're vulnerable to what they fix. And you don't have to do anything. You don't necessarily have to click on anything. Some of these vulnerabilities that these updates fix are just by being connected to the internet and having the computer turned on. A lot of people don't get that. But I didn't do anything. All I did was turn it on. That's all it takes for some of these exploits. So you must, and I cannot emphasize this enough, go through this process of getting all your updates if you want to have a guaranteed smooth process. Okay. Also, if you're having any problem installing updates, that may indicate something's wrong with the machine. So don't start settling in and, getting comfortable if you're going to end up having to send the machine back for warranty or replacement. Maybe it's got a bad RAM module and it turns out, it's blue screening. Don't get too far ahead. Don't just assume, take it out of the box and start configuring it the way I like it. No, get it up to date. Get your screen set up the way you like it. Get your resolution set up the way you like it. If everything's good, then start installing your stuff one at a time. Reboot often so that you know the last thing you installed. If you have any problems after you install that one thing, you'll know which thing caused it. If you install all your stuff at once and reboot and you have a problem, how do you know which of those things caused it? So it's time consuming. It's painstaking. Reboot, install, reboot, install, reboot, install. Oh, it all worked. Why did I bother? Well, that's great. Why did I have insurance on my car for the last year if I never used it? It's insurance. It's a process that you should only have to do once and make sure you do it right the first time. And if anything goes wrong, you'll know exactly, the prior boot it worked, this boot it didn't. What did I change? You can fix it, identify it, and address it much, much faster. That's my logic. That's the rules I live by. Okay, take a look in the chat. Chris Johnson said he's got 2 American Staffordshire Terriers. They're sweet and affectionate dogs. Nice. I always think of Spuds MacKenzie, you know, what are those called? English Bull Terriers. They have the head of a sheep. It's a very strangely shaped head and little squinty eyes. And I thought they were the ugliest dogs. And then they just kind of grew on me over the years. And I'm like, oh, I got to have one. A little bull terrier, English bull terrier. That weird shaped head and those little squinty eyes. It's a very unusual looking dog. But I don't know how their temperament is. David Graham says he loves cats. They're great for pest control. Oh. So that's the problem I have with cats. They see me as a pest. David Collins says if your internet network isn't working, you have a not work. Because that's true. Lagrinia says this reminds me I need to run the AMD Adrenalin software and check for updates. Couldn't hurt, only takes a second. It should auto update though. John Williams said he met a real nice Siberian Husky yesterday and all she wanted to do was play and get tummy rubs. I've never seen a mean Siberian Husky in my life. Never. They can be a little bit mouthy as far as like, you know, grabbing your hands and stuff, but they're not aggressive dogs. Usually you take them to a dog park and they get along with all the other dogs. I don't think I've ever seen one that didn't. I'm sure they exist. I've just never seen one. Huskies and Malamutes, both very friendly. Just trying to catch up with any chats I've missed while we're waiting. Paul O'Brien renews membership, now a member for 15 months. Did I say this already? He says, hello, everyone. Good to catch another live. Keep up the good work, Carey and Marlena. Thank you, Paul. Cheers to Paul. Out there in Ireland. Hector Avilas with a $9.99 super chat says, hello, everyone. I hope this is something to help for today. It is, and thank you. Carey, Mara, thank you. You're awesome. Back at you, Hector. Thank you for sharing and contributing and being a part of this amazing community we have here. It's a pleasure to have everybody here today and not battle with trolls and bots. Ah, it's so much nicer for me. I hope it's nicer for you too. Richard Palmentier said he had a Malamute Husky mix that was a great loving dog, and I sure miss him. It's good to miss them. What you don't want is, oh my, that thing was terrible. Glad it's gone. You as sad as missing is, that's the best you can hope for. Let's see here. Jason Thomas jumps in, says hello. Paul Gray says nice dogs. What am I doing over here? Oh, we're moving along. This internet connection is so much better. But we're probably going to see Windows Update suggests 22H2. I don't think it'll skip over right to 23, but it might. We're going to find out right now. But we might have to install 22H2. But the good news is, if you get it from Windows Update, 22H2 or 23H2, they install very quickly. If you use the Windows update assistant and it has to download that update manually and install it, it takes about 10 times longer. I don't know why. You want to get it through Windows Update if you want it fast. It's also less trouble. You don't have to look for it, download the Windows Update Assistant, then have that tell you download it and go through a bunch of boxes. With Windows Update, it all happens automatically. It's a much smaller download. With the Windows Update Assistant, you get the entire install. But with Windows Update, you only get the pieces you're missing. Why don't they both work the same? I don't know, but it will be offered to us. Well, we're waiting. I guess I can unbox the monitor. Let's keep moving forward. Let me move this aside. Richard Palmentier with a $2 super chat said his birthday is Tuesday the 10th. The 10th of September. Right on, Richard. Happy early birthday to our friend Richard. I swear he just had a birthday last September 10th. You do this every year, Richard? Paul Gray says, are we expecting version 24H2 next week? Every time I guess, I'm wrong. So I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a great source on, reputable source who's been right in the past, who said 23H2 is going to be out this week. And then it doesn't happen and I look like an idiot. So I'm going to say, I don't know. I have no idea. But when I know, I'll let you know. You might know before me. We'll see when it actually comes out. Because too many people give dates and they're wrong. I'm just like, ooh, should be out today. I can't wait. And then it never happens. I like to avoid disappointment as much as possible. Okay. Let me switch this around. Let's go full screen on camera one. This is a portable monitor. Just in case you were wondering. No brand, no model, just portable monitor. Nice thick piece of foam. Product specs. I think we have a screen protector. Nice. Move it over here. We have these cards that I guess are the directions. It's different. The MSSA156 shows you how the stand works. We might be needing these. I'll set them right over there. And then this is thin. Wow. Hold on. That is a strong magnet. Okay. Let up. All right. Yeesh. You cannot open these without tearing them. That one actually did pretty good. Ta-da. Just like it was pictured. Oh, look at the reflection of the mess. Yikes. All right. Pay no attention to the mess in the reflection. Don't even say anything, Carey, about the reflection. Do not draw attention to the reflection, Carey. Okay, I won't draw attention to the reflection. So you know. Does this work? I'm trying to do it without reading the directions. It clearly folds for some reason. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on just a minute. Just a minute. Don't mind that. Talk about it. Okay, there's a little diagram that shows the stand. I need my glasses. Yeah, the font is really, really tiny. That hard to read. I get it now. It's like a prescription bottle. Huh. That is not helpful. So the picture shows just a straight, it doesn't show this extra stuff. What am I missing? See, it just shows this piece completely straight, but we've got it here and there's a big tail on it. What do I do with this? Because the picture shows it completely straight like that, but then, oh, but it doesn't show it's folded. Does it? Cool. Hold on, let me see this other one. Give me some electronics and technical stuff. I can figure it out in a second. Give me something simple like this. I'm puzzled. Story of my life. This is just about the menuing system and how you can control your colors and brightness and such with the buttons, right? Just like a television. So I guess oh, there is volume on this. It does have a speaker. I'm trying to figure out if all you can see is this piece, then where does this piece go? Does it go behind it? Like that? Is that why? Now it's not sticking. Oh, because I think the magnet's down here. That's not going to work. When I buy a portable monitor, I always look for one that has a built-in metal stand, right? So if you look at the portable monitors I've reviewed in the past, they have a metal, like U-shaped frame, and you just pull that away. I don't like these. They're too flimsy. I understand that they work as a cover, right? It's a portable monitor, and you want to protect it when you're traveling. I get it, right? So you can close this up. Like how? I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video to see how I took this apart. This is some kind of origami? What's going on here? Why is it so much bigger than the monitor? How did I? Oh, maybe it goes all the way down to the crease and folds over itself, right? Let me see. Maybe it goes all the way down here like that. And this goes up. No, this won't go over. So there's a bend here. Maybe it goes this, maybe we'll try it the other way around. We go this way. No. This would fold over, right? And this would fold. I know this is super easy. Paul Howe says, fold it under and put the monitor in the slot. I'm just trying to figure out how this was covering the monitor when I took it out of the box. That looks like it would have been like that. That looks like it goes like that. Okay, I got there. So that is how you can transport it and protect it. And then when you get to where you're going and you want to set it up, you can get your PC, you can get your monitor, you can take it out of its protective cover and then use this protective cover like no. You have to take the cover off the front. Where does it go? What do you do with this? Then this goes like this and like that. Is that? It's not how the picture shows it. It's not stable. I really wish I had a metal stand. It would be so much more secure and obvious. And then just a separate little soft envelope. What was that? Mara? Mara? What was that? I just heard a clump, like something fell. I heard something.
Close the door.
So confused. Okay, that clearly goes there. Okay, I know that. The picture shows this going. Is this the game? I mean, it kind of works. I'm clearly doing something wrong. Look at the photo. Frank Jimmy says, look at the photo on a Minisforum website. Oh, okay. That's a good idea, Frank. Go back over here. Take a look at the photo. Let's look at it together. Okay, it's got that there. See, I can't see where the tail went. Is it folded under? Is it folded behind? It's clearly not sticking straight out the way I have it. Why did he do that? It's always the same angle on the photo. I want to see the back. They've kept the photos exactly the same. Weird. How did they do that? What happened? Okay, you see this piece right here? This piece on the end? Looks like a single piece, right? But if you look at what I'm doing, I have this whole thing that's connected to that piece they're showing. So what happens to all of this? This is a lot of material. Where does this go? How come I can't see it doubled up anywhere and it's not? What am I missing here? So when we use the word intuitive, it's open to interpretation. For some people, this is like nothing. For my kind of mind, this is like some kind of Sudoku puzzle, some kind of weird Jenga game. Give me electronics, give me logic, give me circuits, give me programming code. Super easy for me. Give me this simple thing that a 6-year-old can do. I am completely baffled. Like a nutty professor. All right, let me jump over here. Let's see if this is waiting on a reboot. Still installing. It's fine. Okay. Let me back over to the chat room. William Denton says, Carey, turn it upside down from how you have it now. But then there's, okay. I mean, the magnet, as far as I know, is there. Turn this upside down. Then where does the... No, that's not going to work. What's happening? Maybe he meant to turn the monitor upside down, not this. It's too big. It's not going to work. No magnet on that side. The magnet's right here. Use the same piece that fits the upper half. Upper half of what? The front, the back, the upper half of the cover, the upper half of the monitor? What is... So confused. Okay, I know how it works as a folder. I'm good there. Start at this point, right? Because you're going to open it. Once you've got it open, you want to set it up. I mean, the magnet doesn't move. So wouldn't it stay there? I mean, this folds in 3 places for a reason. That go that way, and then this goes this way. Nothing's supporting it. Does this support? Well, the pictures don't show this supporting it. Does this come down like this? No, it's nothing. It's not being secured. It's barely holding on. Is there a 6-year-old in the house that can help me? Flip the monitor upside down when it's in its case. Flip the monitor face first and then close it. Okay. And if I open it, where does this go? Just go behind it. Whose idea was this for me to do this live? I'm sure this is really simple. William Denton says you had the correct section on the back, but you had it upside down. It starts in the back where the thickness changes. It goes up to the top and folds back down. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm assuming this is the inside and this is the outside, right? Pretty sure. I know that the magnet attaches to this piece here, and the part of this that's the magnet is this section right here, right? So if I put this on, maybe not. The other way. Where'd my magnet go? It's the other side. Not feeling the magnet anywhere now. I mean, I got that figured out, right? I know how to put it back. But to take it from this position, clearly, must be a magnet here and here. Fold it back. Fold this back. Didn't I do this already? This does not work.
2 hours later.
It goes this way. How's our update doing? Still going. Okay. Nick Caffrey says, I've worn the magnet out by now. Photo Mix Media says, your pride gets in the way to look anything up, even instructions. Well, if you're watching a movie and it's a murder mystery and somebody tells you who does it, didn't they just take the whole point of watching the movie out of the movie? If you're playing a video game, do you want to do a walkthrough to figure out how to get past the levels? Or do you want to figure it out yourself? So for me, things should be intuitive, okay? So if I'm struggling with this, and I'm a technician, and I might be too techie for this. This might be so simple, it's not occurring to me. But it should be obvious. There should be a top and a bottom that are labeled. It should be much more obvious how this is done. Of course I can look up the directions. It's not about pride. I can look up the cheats on how to get through the level of the game. I can look up the answers to the Sudoku puzzle and not do it myself. What's the point of doing that? You understand? So the videos here that I make, they're not commercials for the product. I think you want to see a commercial. So please understand, we're keeping everything real, and things should be intuitive. And if they're not intuitive, this is something the company needs to acknowledge and address. That's it. I did look at these directions, by the way, and they're not useful. They don't specify, and we looked on the screen. So suggesting I didn't look at the directions is simply not true. On, the directions that are given and the directions on the website still leave me with no answers. Now, I could look up other review videos, and someone probably demonstrates it. But I'd really like to figure it out on my own. I don't think that's pride. It's called education. If I give you a math problem and you look up the answer and you don't show how you got to that answer, I don't think you understand the math problem. You just know how to use a calculator. I want to see your work. But if you want to watch commercials, most other reviews are just commercials. You go to that. Basically, it's not me who's not getting it. You're not getting it. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the point of my channel. Frank says you need to go a little further up to the way to the top of the Minisforum webpage. Oh, okay, let me do this one. Oh, wait a minute. The Amazon page shows it different. Hold on, this looks different. So the Amazon page shows it's sitting underneath. Where did it go? This piece, this is what I couldn't see. This piece under it. Okay. Okay. So the magnetic piece, well, I thought the magnet was down here. I guess the magnet's at the top. That big bend is going to go on an angle, and the flap is what the bottom of the monitor sits on top of that flap, probably in one of the grooves of the flap. That makes sense now. I get it. And I don't think it has a front or a back. I don't think it matters if you flip this completely around. The material on both sides seems to be the same. So let me go over to camera one. Where's my camera one? There it is. And, okay, I think I got this now. So we have certain bends in this, right? And you notice, I mentioned the 3 bends. I was like, why are there 3 here? Why would this fold around like that? But now, if this is the top of the back of the monitor, right? So if this is the monitor, and this went to the back of it, according to the picture on it, it's not sticking, but okay, whatever. Then this goes like this, and in these grooves, the monitor sits like that. But that is not how it is shown on the Minisforum website. I don't see this tongue. I would call this a tongue. And it looks like maybe you can set it in either groove, maybe. That. It was something simple. Just couldn't see it in my mind. Again, with a metal stand that's attached, it would be far more secure. This is still very, like if you're gaming and banging on the table, this is going to fall. Yep. If you don't see entertainment value in this, I don't know how to help you. That is very unstable. Check the Amazon website one more time. Let's take another look. Okay, that piece comes down. Piece comes out. Okay, that piece is not coming out. Hold on, let me make it so that piece comes out. Does it go out? Kinda, maybe like that. I mean, it's kind of looks like the picture. Like I don't see this fold anywhere. See that fold? I'm thinking that's the piece that's sticking out. But then how does this monitor stand? It won't. It has to fold onto something. I think that's it. And it's just that easy. So simple. It only took me half an hour. Really wish it had a metal stand. Just something that wrapped around the screen, you pull it back, just like I've shown from other manufacturers. I don't know how this is going to stay stable when you're banging on the desk gaming. But I've seen this is very common on portable monitors to have the foldable protectors that become the stand, and they're magnetic. And because they're magnetic, that's a little bit of origami, and it's kind of weak as far as holding the monitor securely. So it kind of depends on if you're doing work with it or if you're gaming with it. It is a gaming monitor, so I would think it would be more secure than it is. But nothing with magnets is going to be as secure as just a metal frame that you could pull back, and then how much you pull it back, adjust the rake so that you get the right angle. This, I don't agree with it. Wonder why. Let's see how our updates are doing over here. That is the wrong window, Carey. How can that still be downloading? Something is stuck. Full screen. Why does say, oh, it's a cumulative update? That's why. All right, you know what? Now you notice we don't see the option to restart now, but I'm going to do it anyway because it seems stuck for some reason. Let's just restart it. We'll see the updates are underway probably. Yeah. And that will force it to continue. And then when we reboot, we'll probably have to start that other update again, or hopefully it'll just pick up where it left off, but won't damage anything. We don't want to hit the power button and force it off. We want to do a proper shutdown, and then we won't cause any harm. All right, let me go back over to camera 1 while we're waiting, and I can put myself in a corner while we watch it. And do you guys have any questions for me? Frankie B says, can we do it again from the top? You know what? That's a great idea. However, I still have to hook it up. We haven't even gotten to the accessories in the box yet. Christopher Horton says, easy. It's just that easy. And obvious, so obvious. Frank Jimmy says, I think the part that attaches to the back of the monitor is upside down. Which part? It folds in 3 different places. You're saying one of the folds is backwards, or I have to turn the whole thing around? What? So because nothing's labeled, it's hard to explain, like which part is upside down. You're saying this part goes the other way around, or are you saying this bottom part that I'm connecting to goes to the back? Because that's clearly how they show this in the pictures. There's no groove here on the back for this to sit in. If we go the other way, if we go this way, and we go this way, does anybody have a hammer and a nail? I can fix this. No way. Nope. Where was I? Let's go back to doing what I know how to do and do something technical. Let's go over to our computer here and back to Windows updates. I'm kind of curious when we're going to see an update to 22 or 23H2 here. Okay, so it's back. Okay, so it went from downloading, right? It started installing it. So that's good. Likely it needed something else to happen for that to install one of the previous updates. And it just didn't give us the restart now for some reason. So now we're back in business. We'll let that run. Mustang Mike says, stay calm, take a deep breath, and don't throw the monitor. I bet this thing is really aerodynamic. It's not the monitor, it's the case, right? That's whoever engineered this assumed it would be obvious because there's no direction. There's no, like, you would think it would say 1, 2, and 3 or something like that to give you some idea, or it would say front and back. There's no indication to what side's up. What is this, the front, or is this the front, or does it matter? And is this the top, or is this the top? I don't know. But to me, it looks like this piece is the same dimension as this piece right here. Maybe my engineering mind is different than the engineer's mind who did this. Maybe. That's super easy. I got this. And it just fits perfectly right there. I guess. I mean, it's working, but is it right? How do you know? Oh, it's awfully slanted. What if I wanted it more raked up higher? What then? Too bad. Are you not entertained? Come on. Oh, come on. It's just laid back. That's all. Okay. Dennis wants to know how I am at changing light bulbs. I am amazing at that. Ken says maybe I need to install updates on the cover. It's definitely magnetized here. That is connecting. I think that's it. I can't tell, but the connectors, as far as I know, go on the bottom. This frame right here suggests this is the bottom of the monitor. This monitor should be right side up. Take a look at the Amazon page again. That's correct. Monitor's right side up. I have the monitor. The monitor's not upside down, guys. Okay, maybe you're messing with me. Let's see. Cumulative update is installing this time. Very good. Model says the cover's upside down. Frank says, I think the top of the first fold needs to attach to the thin part. Yeah, that's the top of the first fold, and it attaches right to the thin part, right? This is the thick part, this is the thin part, and that goes right there. and it's magnetic and it connects. Very confident about that. It's the rest of it I'm not so sure. Nope. The fold, Waddle says the fold goes toward the top edge of the monitor, even though it doesn't look like it should. The hold, the hinge or fold should be at the top. Hinge. What hinge are they talking about? This is the part the monitor sits in. These are the grooves. I mean, am I looking at it wrong? Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. No, it shows two grooves on the bottom that the monitor sits in. There's two. This is the only place where two grooves are together. There's no grooves here for this to lock into. It only shows about that, like this groove right here shows where the monitor should go. According to the picture, the monitor sits in this groove right here. Then this piece goes back. It angles up, and just the top half connects to the screen. But it doesn't explain this other fold. There's the first groove. There's the second groove. It's on the ground. Then this piece, like it shows just one last piece. So maybe that's it. Boy, that sure does look like the photo right there. That looks exactly like it. Ooh, I wish I could see the top and see if it's folded. Because I folded the top, but I'm not sure it's supposed to be folded. I guess it has to be. But the way the bottom, so I'm looking at the bottom, and I'm looking at how far this goes, where the groove is, and then there's this angle up, and then it connects to the monitor. And I'm just trying to replicate that, and that's the only way I can get back up there. Bring the monitor up. It's definitely more upright now. It's not as laid back. I guess that's normal. I think I've got it. You guys think I have it? I think I have it. Peter VZ with a €1 contribution. Hey, Peter, thank you. Waddle says, I've got it. Everybody, Raj D, that's it. Yeah, it's much better. I appreciate the help. I know it's frustrating for you to explain it to me because I'm trying to interpret what you know what you're trying to say, but I don't know. Maybe the engineers had the same problem. All right, there's our monitor. I don't know. This is a big update, this cumulative update, but it's moving now. 79%. So if you haven't figured it out by now, the reason why I've dragged this on is we're waiting for these updates. And I'm trying to keep you entertained. Well, at the same time, I'm honestly trying to figure this out. If I had something else to talk about or do while we're waiting for the updates, I would have just set this aside. This is simply a time filler just because when we're done with this, we still have to grab 22 and 23H2 before we can even begin testing. So in the meantime, what do? Just sit here and stare at each other? I'm kind of glad this happened in the sense that it filled time, but I'm kind of upset at, well, let's just say my reviews are honest, and I really like Minisforum products, but I don't like them all. Let's hope the monitor's better than the stand. So let's get back to this. Oh, hold on. Before I continue, we'll do this while we're doing the updates, okay? So that we're doing two things at once. We're not just sitting here staring at updates. I'm looking at the wrong screen. That explains that. Now I can see it. Okay, we're going to restart this bad boy right here. And we'll check for updates. Hopefully we'll see 22 or 23H2 offered. Again, we could force it. I don't want to force it. I want everything to happen as it should have happened. Remember, this is a year, basically, this went on sale a year ago. And it looks like either this has been in inventory for a while, or they're still using the same image they were using last year. They haven't updated it, one way or the other. I don't know. And remember, there's a stand that goes on this that we don't have on it that makes it look much more attractive. If I had my tools, I could put it on real quick. Now, let's get back to what's in the box in just one moment. I'm waiting for this to restart. We're going to check for updates again, and then we'll go back to checking out the accessories and plugging this in while those updates are installing. It gives us something to do. Paul Gray with $10 Australian. He says, for awaiting update. Thank you, Paul. Paul joins us from Australia. Frank Jimmy says, I think this is what the NASA engineers went through trying to explain the Apollo 13 astronauts how to build the CO2 filter on the lunar module. UFO Man says, I love your stubbornness. It was so fun. Okay. This is what I find a little amusing. The word stubborn kind of comes off a bit negative, right? I had a boss at my very first tech job who said, you're like a bulldog. Like you bite into something and you will not let it go. Here's the thing. If I let it go, I don't learn anything. And if that learning lesson is difficult, I will remember it better. The harder I hit my head at the school of hard knocks, the more I'll remember it later. If it's easy for me to figure out, I don't think about it. I don't remember it. It's just like, well, just put that together. That doesn't require much thought. When you see me honestly struggle with stuff like this, it's real. And it's not like I hear the word stubborn and I think negative, and you didn't mean it that way, but I see it as somebody who sees something through and figures it out. No matter what it takes, I never give up. I will figure it out. And I prefer to figure it out on my own. But even I sometimes get to a point where it's like, let's go look at the walkthrough. Let's go find the cheat codes, right? Sometimes in a game, I get tired of playing the same level over and over and over. And you get to that final boss and just, it's impossible. I conclude it just can't be done. Let me see how other people have done it because this can't be done. When I reach that point, that's when I go and look it up. I don't want to look it up. I grew up in the Gen X. We didn't have the internet. This is how life was. And I prefer it. There's it's fulfillment. When you achieve something that you struggled and you succeed, you will receive fulfillment. It's a dopamine release. It empowers you. It's when another customer brings a monitor to me and has trouble with the stand and I go, you just fold it like that. They're going to go, how did you know that? You're so smart. That's because they didn't see this. And you do that over a period of time and you keep repeating the same things over and over. And the first one is really hard, but then all the repeats are simple. Yeah, I've done that before. That's all. It's that stubbornness, as you call it, is required to achieve on your own self-reliance. Never give up. Every computer that comes to me for repair is fixable, no matter what. I will fix it. I've never had a computer I couldn't fix in over 30 years. It may not be worth fixing. It may cost more to fix it than it's worth, but I can fix it. I've never, ever seen a computer problem I couldn't fix. Might take me a while, but I will get there, damn it. All right, let's go back to the screen over here. And we'll go back to updates. Now we're a little past 2 hours on today's broadcast, but we're looking at two different products here. So hopefully at the very least we get the monitor hooked up. And I mean, we know what the specs are on this. We know there's a 10,000 different games you could be playing. So for me to demonstrate frames per second, what are the odds that's a game you play, right? So the best thing I could advise is if you want a more traditional review, there are plenty of channels that have done this review already. They've done the noise test. They've done the frames per second on whatever games they randomly decide to test. They've opened it up. If you want that, that's already been done. I don't need to do that when people have already done it. And I can't do it because I don't have the close-up camera and I don't have my tools. So for all of those reasons, my video stands out very differently than those. But those videos also are a great addition to mine, or mine is a great addition to theirs, because theirs is all going to be edited, right? All of this would have been edited out. You would never know if they struggled with it. You'll never know. They won't tell you. Maybe it was easy for them. Maybe it wasn't. But the edit will always make it look easy, and it'll be much faster. And you'll get into some of that detail that is so minutia and specific. It's really for the people interested in buying it. I imagine out of my whole audience, there might be a small percentage that are interested in this. And most of you are watching just because it's interesting or entertaining, or you have nothing else better to do. Maybe you like hanging out in the community. Maybe you think, hey, that's good to know, right? But you have no interest in it. Hey, I have no interest in a portable monitor. But some of you do. And for those of you who do, and you want more details, there are already video reviews on these. These are not brand new. These are not products that are just entered the market. These have been in the market for a while. Okay, we are definitely not up to date with 21H2. Hold on. System. 21H2. Well, that ain't right. A Windows Update, in fact, will offer us 22H2 and 23H2 on its own if we just wait. It'll come. We don't want to wait. Then we have to go to the Windows Update Assistant, which is going to take a while. So we could force it using the Windows Update Assistant. That is an option if you want to do it. If you're impatient, like somebody I know. Windows Update. No, I guess it's, yeah. It's 10, 11. I would think it was in here somewhere. It's Windows 10 though. It'd be one for Windows 11. Download the latest Windows. Get the latest Windows update as soon as they're available. Nope, that's not what I want. Download Windows 11. Maybe it's here. Windows 11 Installation Assistant. Is it the Installation Assistant? I don't think so. Let's try it. Essentially, 23H2 is an entirely different version of Windows 11. So, well, let's say you already have Windows 11. Let's see. See if your device... Use the PC healthcare check. Okay, now we got to download another app. Healthcare check. Remember, we can just... Oh, it's right up here. Maybe we can wait for Windows Update to offer this, and it will. And probably by the end of today. But I don't know how it decides. You know, I don't know how to force it other than doing what we're doing. 21H2. Okay. Over here. Over here. Refresh. Accept. Look at that. We're doing something. All right, let's close all that. So basically what this is doing is this is downloading a full install of Windows 11 23H2. What this enables us to do is to basically upgrade our Windows 11 to the latest Windows 11 by forcing a complete new install on top of it, so we don't lose any programs or data. Instead, we could wait for Windows Update to offer us 22H2 and then wait for it to offer us 23H2. And ultimately, once Windows Update offers it, it's a much smaller, faster installation than what this is. But this skips those steps and it enables us to do it right now. We don't have to wait. You'll see my download here is much, much better than it was over at Studio B. We're much faster here. Now, if we go back to the accessories box, we'll look at what comes with this monitor. I suppose I should wait and make sure this installs. Daniel says I'm tenacious. That's a word. Sure. All right. Gen X. All you got to know, if you don't know what Generation X is, Google it or look on YouTube. That will explain everything. Now that's installing, so that may take a couple minutes. So now, while we're waiting, let me go full screen on camera 2, and let's take a look at the accessories. We'll continue on. Instead of watching grass grow, we'll do this. So in the box that the monitor came in, we have a couple boxes here. Type-C cable, HDMI cable, accessories. All I should need is the Type-C cable, as far as I know. I don't know what's in the accessories box. Maybe the power adapter, but we're not going to use power from the power adapter. I want to use power from the USB-C to power that and provide the video signal at the same time. That is a big box. Amazon must have taught them how to box things. I mean, I'm glad they separated them and labeled them. I don't have. Sometimes, most of the time, you just get one box and everything's thrown in it. All I wanted was the Type-C cable, so it was labeled. Got little dust covers on the ends here that need. Okay. Let's go out of the USB 4 Type-C port back here. And let's go in. One of these should be an input, right? I'm just going to guess. Is it this one? Or any on the other side? Oh, it beeped. It's got power. It's got video. Start with me. You stand up straight, soldier. And I broke my glasses. It's the second pair I broke this week. All right. Having a good day. How about you? Everything's smooth as butter. Now, the reason we're getting this is because this is monitor 2, right? So if I unplug the main monitor, I can go in and make adjustments, but rather than make adjustments, if we want everything to happen automatically, and if we were truly portable, that we would bring this with us, we would give this power, we would take this out of its foldable protective case, make it into a stand, use this one cable. We would probably hook this up with Wi-Fi. We only need to give this power. And of course, you need a keyboard and a mouse, right? So if I unplug the HDMI cable, this becomes the main monitor, and we'll see the Windows Update on it. And it should be full screen. because this screen that I'm connecting to is a different resolution than this screen, because this screen is 40 inches and this screen is 15. This is a 4K screen, this is a 2K screen. So, one cable is all it takes to provide power and the video signal. Pretty cool. So we're talking about portability, right? Without the expense of a laptop, but also without the convenience of a battery. See what I'm saying? What does the screen want? Oh, it's still installing. Okay. Not real confident stand. I would say that for any magnetic stand. Except when we did so here's the other thing. Remember the Atom Man from Minisforum, the G7 PT? Instead of putting screws to attach the stand, it had the same kind of stand. It was a magnet, and it was like neodymium magnet. It was a rare earth magnet, and it was a really super strong magnet. And when you brought the metal stand to the bottom of the Atom Man, like it just pulled it right out of your hand. That's how strong. It just grabbed it and attached. And it attached so strong on video, I was pretty confident I could hold it upside down just by the stand and move it, and it would not release the computer, and it didn't. Now, granted, if I shook it and, made it really difficult, put a lot of inertia in it, I'm sure it would have separated, and the $2,000, $1,000 computer would have gone crashing to the ground. But the fact is that that's a great installation. It goes on one way, it's magnetic, it's a strong magnet, boom. But usually, magnets are used for things that don't require rigidity, something you're going to move around, right? So this magnet here does the job, as would any magnetized cover for a portable monitor or a tablet. I don't like any of them. I don't think there's a good one. They're all terrible. They work great as covers. But as far as rigidity in the stand, you also have very limited angle options. Again, if you look at the portable monitor I reviewed a while back, I purposely bought one that had a metal stand that came out that's attached to the screen. I had to buy it. Did I buy a cover for it? Did it come with one? But instead of a folding cover, it was, you just lifted the top open like an envelope, slid it out, and you set on the desk, and you pulled the metal stand away like a picture frame, and you could adjust the rake depending on where you wanted, how far you pulled the metal frame, the metal stand. When you were done, the metal stand just hugs the edges, goes back in the folded case. Super easy, barely an inconvenience, as they say. What are we doing over here? 78%. I think I'm just gonna set these over there. All right, so looking in the chat room. Questions? Comments? We're just waiting on this to finish. Richard Palmentier says Carey's being persistent. I think that's a very good word. persistence. It's not negative. Paul 1961 with a $20 Canadian super chat contribution says, great show. Thank you, Paul. That guy gets it. He gets it. Yeah, Dennis Kine said it's persistence. Thank you, Dennis. It's persistence. It's exactly what it is. It's not negative. It's quality. I think a valuable quality in an employee. If I hire an employee, they better be persistent. Paul Gray with a $10 Australian. Oh, for awaiting updates. I think he's talking about these updates. Christopher Horton says, level 100 tablet case defeated. Finish him. Victor says those grooves are not deep enough to hold the monitor. Apparently they say they are. Come on, where else do you find real content like this? Who else does this kind of video content? Nobody does it. That doesn't mean it's good. I'm not saying it's good. It's different. Camp Blinsky says it's integrity. Well, integrity and pride kind of, yeah. Victor likes the MS Surface Pro tablet stand. Okay. Hey, Mara. Mara? We did the Minisforum V3. Do you have any problem with its stand?
Yes.
It's weak, right?
It's crappy.
So the stand is magnetic.
Yes.
And you don't like it.
I don't.
It's difficult to use it as a stand, but it's
Once
great
you
as
get it right and set it down, it's fine. But if you touch it in any way, even
yeah, just breathe on it, it just falls over.
On it, yeah.
Whoops.
That's what I was afraid of, that would happen.
Yeah, it's delicate. It's
Like you mentioned,
insecure. The magnet's not strong enough. Okay, I just opened like 2 windows on my computer somehow. Turn on Carrot browsing. I don't even know what that is. What am I, a rabbit? Paul Gray says this is better than Saturday morning cartoons. This stand is like the Roadrunner, and I'm like trying to figure out how to get it. This stand ought to just go, meep, meep. All right, so in the box, we have the HDMI cable. We have what looks like a screen protector that I probably should have put on. And then we have a box of accessories. I have to guess that there's a power adapter, so you don't have to hook it up this way. You can use a mini HDMI. Oh, look at this. It's a, looks like a phone charger, USB-C on one end. Okay, this is important to know. This USB-C cable is likely not the same as this USB-C cable. This one likely won't deliver the video. Likely, it only delivers power. This USB-C cable is more expensive. It has more wires in it. This one is likely less expensive. It only carries enough to generate, like, to move electricity, not data. I think that's why they've separated them in 2 different boxes. They don't tell you use this for both. They say use this one. Tell me that's not confusing. Because it says Type-C cable right here, but in the accessories box, we have a Type-C cable right here. And this this is USB Type A to micro USB. Okay. Not sure why you'd need that. Type A to micro. So there's something else in here. Microfiber cloth for cleaning all the fingerprints off the screen. That's it. In the other box, it says HDMI cable. Is it just one? Yep, just one cable. It's got dust jackets over it, and it's regular full-size HDMI to go out of your PC to Mini HDMI, I think that's what it's called, as an option video input, but this will not provide power. So if you use this cable, you will not use this cable. You use one or the other. You use this and this together. This provides the power, this provides the video. Or if your computer has it, you run this USB-C cable to provide both power and video. This is older tech. This is the new tech, right? So in order to remain backwards compatible, to work as a monitor for older machines, that's what this is for. If your machine is newer, you won't use this, you'll use this. One or the three or one. Okay. Don't put any chemicals when you wipe your screen. Use this dry. Just wipe the screen dry. Don't use any Windex or alcohol. You'll ruin the anti-glare coating on a monitor or a television. If there's something you just can't wipe out, put some water on on the corner, just put some water on it and get the water on the area that's really, really dirty, and then use the rest of it to dry it. No chemicals, no cleaners on a computer monitor or a modern television. You're going to ruin it. No paper towels, no washcloths, microfiber. Otherwise, you're going to scratch your screen all up. And you may not see it at first, but there may be other scenes you're watching in a movie where the screen's really bright white. You're going to see all these black lines across everywhere you rubbed a washcloth or a paper towel. The more you know. Davey says, good afternoon, Carey. I'm glad you are still going. Who's going to watch today's show? William Lynn said you should get a portable monitor with a metal stand. We already did that. So this is a gaming monitor. So the one I reviewed was just a standard. It wasn't 144 hertz. It wasn't a touch screen. All right. So this is a fancier one. It just doesn't have a fancier stand. That's where they need to improve. And Minisforum needs to improve that stand on the V3 tablet. The V3 tablet is an amazing machine with a terrible stand. I'd rather they didn't even include it. Make it an make me go buy it somewhere rather than give me something so it's flimsy. That's the word, flimsy. It's not a flimsy monitor. It's not a flimsy cable. The stand is not up to the quality of everything else that Minisforum is providing you. That's why I'm like these things. They don't go together. High quality, low quality. Why'd you put this low quality item with? You know what I mean? Save money, lowers the price. Okay. I'm sure that's what I'm going to be told. I guess these are the accessories. Is this updated yet? Still going. Still going. So here's what I want to do now. I want to go back so where you guys can see this better. This looks fine in person. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, for the camera to pick it up in the lighting, it's hard for you to see it. So for that reason, let's go back. Ooh, yeah, getting old. Get off my lawn. Plug back into the capture card. We can both see it better. Oh, wait. This was accessories too. There we go. William Lynn wants to know if you use USB-C for video, is it using the internal graphics card? No. No, it's using USB graphics. In other words, USB has a signal on its own. And that's why you can use 2 USBs and 2 HDMIs at the same time to get 4 monitors, regardless of what GPU you have. I'm just looking through the comments here. Let's see, I guess I can put myself back on here. As I said, this is a long way to go about doing this, but it gets it done right now versus waiting for a Windows update to. And like I said, it might have been offered to us at this point, or it still may not, right? If I left this machine on and just checked it in a couple hours, it might be there waiting. There's just no way to force it other than what we're doing. So not recommending you force it. I just want you to know you have options and what to expect, pros and cons on either way you decide. Now, just because you have USB-C doesn't mean your USB-C supports power delivery, and it doesn't mean your USB-C supports video output. So you may see these letters PD, that means power delivery, and DP, which means DisplayPort. So effectively, the USB 4 or the Type-C also works as a DisplayPort output. And your video performance will be related to the speed of your USB 4 in your cable, not of your internal graphics card. So in other words, if I had a NVIDIA 4090 in here and I plug in a USB-C to the back of the computer, there's no USB-C on the back of the graphics card, right? So there's no way we can get in directly to the graphics card. We're going to get the graphics off USB. So all the ports on the back of the graphics card are not impacted. If we have 4 outputs on the back of our 4090, we can hook up all 4 of those at the same time. And then if we have 2 USB-Cs that support DisplayPort, we can hook up 2 more for a total of 6. But the ones on USB-C aren't going to run at the resolutions or frame rates that the ones plugged into the discrete graphics card are going to run at. Paul Gray submits 20 Australian dollars. Right on. Thank you, Paul. Paul says, I'm so happy I could sleep this morning. Thank you for all your company. Thanks for hanging out with us, Paul. Did we put you to sleep? It won't be the only one. John Williams says he's got a mount in his car that has a real strong magnet for a smartphone. It'll snatch it out of your hand. Well, they make magnets that are strong. They just aren't using them, at least on these covers, for some reason. So we're just about 15 minutes shy of going an hour over the show. I was hoping we could get this done and have it updated. Remember, and I can't emphasize this enough, whenever you get a new computer or you build a new machine, before you configure it for your personal use, get it updated, make sure all the drivers are installed, make sure everything's working. You're not getting any blue screens, you're not getting any errors. There's no sense painting a car you just built that won't start, right? Because all you're gonna do is have to take it back apart and damage the paint, save that part, do this in the proper order, and you'll get it right the first time every time, and you'll get it done faster. Slower is sometimes faster, is what I'm trying to say. Because if you do everything at once and it works, no problem. But if you do everything at once and it doesn't, it's going to be very, very difficult to figure out what caused it. So you start all over again. And that way faster ends up being slower. So I go with consistency. I don't like rolling dice. Maybe you could throw it all together and put all your stuff on, it'll be fine. Maybe. But what if it isn't? You might have to start all over again. And that is going to take you longer when you were trying to go faster. Or maybe it'll be fun. Your choice. Mark Gaines says the video frames are freezing now and then. Are you getting any freezing, Mara? Mara?
Tommy?
Yeah, are you seeing any frames freezing up? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Mara's not seeing anybody else getting freezing? Screen frames stopping? Michael says it's kind of choppy on and off over here. Interesting. Try refreshing. Hit refresh and see if that fixes it. Andrew Murray says he's also getting a latency issue, freezing screen and momentary pixelated watching at 1080p. My studio say. Are we dropping any frames? We have some dropped frames. We do. Our bit rate is pretty high for this resolution, and we did that to stop this motion blur. You guys should not get any motion blur. The side effect of that is we've almost doubled the bit rate of the same resolution. And that means we're transmitting a lot more data, and YouTube has to process that. If I were to go to more of a latency, there's 3 options. I can go normal, low latency, and ultra low latency. What that's deciding is how long it is for YouTube to process what I'm doing right now live to when you see it. So ultra low latency is fastest. That means when I talk, you hear me within 4 seconds of when I speak anywhere in the world. But when I do that, I can't go any higher than 1440p. It's too much data, and I cannot turn on automatic closed captions. I have to go to low latency, which is in the middle. And then when I speak, it's about 10 or 15 or 20 seconds before you hear me. In normal, it could be a minute between when I talk and I say, how are you doing? It's like talking to somebody in space, and you have to wait for them to hear you. Then you have to wait for them to reply. And it's very difficult to have a conversation that way. So, I might be asking 2 questions and then you're answering the first one. And I don't know if you're answering the first one or the second one because of the delay. But when we add the delay, we give YouTube more time to process the video. We can go 4K. We can have closed captions that are live. I just keep it at ultra low latency just so we can keep this as virtual as possible, that you're in the room with me. But obviously there is like about a 4-second delay for the data to get transmitted. I think that's what's happening. Now it says the PC needs to be restarted. It's good. Start now. You're about to be signed out. Sign me out. FM Lazar says there's no drop at 720p for him. Richard Volunteer says 28 dropped frames over there. 3D everything. See, I've seen the freezing as well every once in a while. I appreciate the information. We'll have to figure out what's, I don't know. I might have to lower the bit rate and put the blur back, or Ajin guy said it looks good for him. Bowman's 2000 says there's not much moving on the screen, so can't really tell. Paul Gray says every little now and again, but good at the moment. Okay. Power supply is getting a little warm, but what they do, too warm. Dennis Hill said it's fine for him at 1080p. Weird. Okay, so again, if there's any final questions, this is the time to ask. We've got about 10 minutes left of the show. And hopefully, look, there's going to be some updates to 23H2, but there shouldn't be many. But the idea is that once we get the updates in, and of course we can put the stand on it, we can configure this the way we want it. This is designed for people who are gamers. It doesn't mean that you have to play games. It'll do everything just fine. It's a powerful machine. It might be overkill to have a discrete graphics card you don't need when an internal graphics card will perform exactly the same for your usage. So, you know, unless this is a really good bargain, that, you know, the discrete graphics card doesn't matter one way or the other. But if you're paying extra to get that discrete graphics card, but you're not a gamer, it's not for you. You can, but you could get something less expensive without the discrete graphics card and not notice any performance difference. But if you want a game, this makes a big, big difference compared to a regular mini PC. When we're dealing with gaming on portable machines, we're dealing with portable chips. These are low power chips. So whether it's NVIDIA or it's AMD, these chips are not the same as a discrete desktop graphics card. Those use way more power. They're this big, for crying out loud. And they, you know, they need a big power supply. And one way you can tell how good of a gaming machine it might be is just look at the size of the power supply. The bigger and heavier this power supply is, the more likely it's going to game those AAA titles at higher resolutions better. Not necessarily without exception, but that's a general rule, right? And if you have a dinky little power supply, or the other day we showed the power supply being built into the Mini, that's a low power supply. That's not for gaming. And that's one way you can tell, if you're a gamer, what kind of performance you can expect for frames per second and resolution. At least gets you on the road. Like, you can immediately tell there's no way this little power supply, you know, you look online, they're calling everything a gaming PC just to rank up the price. And it's, you know, a 10-year-old used off-lease business machine. Oh yeah, just throw a graphics card, new power supply in it. Yeah, just spend 3 times, 4 times what you just spent for the used machine that's 10 years old, that isn't Windows 11 compatible, because it was a gaming PC at a really cheap price. It's not a gaming PC. The internet's just full of them. Look on eBay, look on Facebook Marketplace. It's terrible, terrible the way people rip each other off. John Williams said it's been a very good video at 1080p. Actually, excellent. Thank you, John. Well, I guess it's not freezing for everybody. I didn't notice it over here, but I got so much going on. It could have happened and I didn't see it. Richard Palmentier says, if you want to check drop frames and other information on the video, right-click on the video. Well, this is assuming you're watching in a browser on a desktop, not on the television. Right-click on the video, go down to Stats for Nerds and click on it, and a window will come up. Yep. Andrew Murray says, yeah, 10-year-old machine can play Minesweeper and Solitaire, so it's a gaming PC. Well, that's the problem, right? How do we define gaming? Is it esports? Is it retro? Is it AAA titles? Is it RPG? Is it, you know, first-person shooter? What is it? And these different styles and genres of gaming require different levels of power. And depending on how much power, the more money. David Graham said it buffered twice for him during the video. Andrew Murray says that 10-year-old gaming machine, sarcasm included. If only they'd give you that little asterisk, that'd be, at least they'd be transparent. They don't say that. Mark Leibowitz said, someone once brought me a gaming PC to fix. It turned out to be an old HP pre-built with a motherboard transplanted into a third-party case. Outfitted with a GTX 1080 graphics card and a 600 watt power supply. There you go. Did it have RGB? Because if it didn't have RGB, you know. Paul Gray said he's partial to Candy Crush. There you go. Oh, I haven't checked my phone in a while. I also don't have any glasses. Yeah, we'll try it. Frankie B with a very generous PayPal contribution. Hey, Frankie, as always, thank you so much. Your friendship, your kindness, your support is, thank you. Charles Purdy with a PayPal contribution. Carey, you look tired. Relax and rent a movie and buy a pizza on me, from Charlie. Hey, Mara. Netflix and chill? Okay. Thank you, Charlie. All right. Jefferson Creel with a $25 PayPal contribution says tips for the stream. Thank you, Jefferson.
Netflix, chill, and cooking.
Cooking?
Yeah, I need to cook.
Well, she won't eat pizza.
No, I gotta make tofu.
Tofu.
Tofu ground beef.
Enjoy your white sponge. Thank you again to Paul Gray for all of your support, kindness, contributions. Our friend Buster, of course, Frankie B, Oystein out there in Norway, all you guys, thank each and every one of you just for hanging out, for finding us, and for being a part of this incredible community. Regardless, the community is the most valuable part, and it's the best part of the video, is what's going on in the chat room. I hope if you're watching these videos and you don't get it, it's because you're not in the chat room. Join us live and become a part of it. Become a part of this community, and that's where all the good stuff is. All right, let's go back to Windows Update one last time, see where we're at. We'll check a couple things. One, if I right click on system, I should have 23H2 now. Would have skipped right over 22. Yes, we did skip over 22H2. We went right to 23H2. By doing it this way, Windows Update probably would have given us 22H2 and then eventually would have offered us 23H2. I didn't want to wait. Over to settings, there's probably some Windows updates to 23H2, and I got to reset everything as though I'm starting over again. Oh no, those stayed. 0 optional. So just that one right there turned on. Richard Palmentier says, everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy it, whatever you do, relax. I'm going to. Nice, Richard. You should. Dustin Fuller saying goodnight. Mark Leibowitz said the motherboard wasn't that old. I think it had a 6th generation. Well, that won't be Windows 11 compatible. Got to have 8th generation. And if they just bought it, I mean, look on Facebook Marketplace, look on Craigslist, look on eBay, type in gaming PC. Facebook Marketplace for me is the worst. I cannot believe what people, it should go in the garbage can. Watch the details on eBay. $200 gaming PC, and you look and it's a case and a power supply. Everything's been gutted. Just upgraded, selling the parts from my old gaming PC. That's not a gaming PC. That's a case. A dusty, used, scratched up case worth $50. New. I stopped looking at Facebook Marketplace for gaming PCs because it angers me. Nothing I can do, right? I can't warn people not to buy it. I just hope people are smart enough not to buy it, and the people listing it will eventually give up and, put it in the trash can or the recycle bin where it belongs. Take it to Goodwill, something. Be aware of it. All I'm saying is be aware of it. David Herzog says, great show as always, Carey. Thank you, David. John Svensson says he doesn't have any video playback issues there in Oregon. Yeah, it seems like it's affecting some people and not everyone, or not everyone's noticing. But I appreciate the feedback. Bajan Guy says, great stream as always. Thank you, Bajan Guy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yofo Man says, thank you for the informative entertainment and even replying to my inane drivel. Good night, all. Okay. So we know the routine. You're going to update, you're going to reboot. Then this computer will be ready to do whatever you want it to do. Then it's ready. This is true of any new computer. If a friend gives you a computer, this is the very first thing. Take care of it, get it out of the way, and then have at it from that point forward. It'll auto update from the future. You'll never have to do it again unless you wipe and reinstall. That's why I get frustrated when I hear customers solve problems. Oh, I'll just reinstall Windows. Oh, no, no, no. Just reinstalling Windows is a nightmare when you can't find the drivers. You got to redo all the updates and you got to reset up all your stuff. Just fix what's broken. Why blow it up and start over when you can simply fix it? Well, this will be easier. It's not. I promise you it's not easier. Unless you have an Acronis trimmage and you can restore the image, 10 minutes, you're back in business. No big deal. Most people don't do that. I wish they would. If they're the reinstall mindset, that's the way they should do it. Faster, easier. I prefer to actually fix the problem though. I would rather figure out what's wrong and fix it instead of wiping and reinstalling. But people learn this in Windows XP days. This isn't Windows XP anymore. Can't stop them. What can I do? All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us for today. I'll shout out and a thanks to our friends at Acronis and, of course, RoboForm. They offer you guys 30% off always throughout the year. And our friends at VIP CDK Deals, who offer Windows and Microsoft Office legitimate legal license keys. About 80%, 90% off what Microsoft wants. These are OEM keys. They're not retail keys. So they're meant to be installed once, and they stay with the machine for the life of the machine. That's how it's supposed to work. And I stand behind everything. Okay, so it's all 30% off. There's a coupon code for VIP CDK Deals for 30% off. There's a web link for RoboForm that there's no coupon code needed if you use our link. And then, of course, Acronis, there's a coupon code and 30% off pretty much everything they sell. And all of you, thank you for joining us. Our members, of course, and everybody just hanging out and joining us and being kind. That's all you have to do is be kind. We appreciate your kindness. Of course, Mara for doing all the work in the background. Thank you, Mara. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Oh, and thanks to Minisforum for sending the stuff to me so I can review it. They may not be too happy with it, but, I know they appreciate honesty. They're not going to punish me. Some companies, you give them some critical feedback and they'll never send you another thing again. Minisforum is not like that. So we have more from them coming. Also coming, we have the Synology update on the 10 gig networking, and we have a couple of fun things we want to show you. PC builds made of Legos. Say no more. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me for today. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, bye for now.